Right, we're going to talk WSL and a little bit more now. I'm delighted to say football writer Flo Lloyd-Hughes is on the line. Good morning, Flo.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Great, and thanks a million for taking the call this morning. And I was following closely the Arsenal game last night in terms of what we might chat about this morning, and the narrative building that they've started the season like a house on fire, and it certainly was a light last night.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, I don't think it was Arsenal's best performance, but I think the quality that they have is just so strong that even when they're perhaps not playing at their best, they have enough to score a lot of goals and see them through. But I do think in European competition, especially after what happened at Barcelona last week, they do know that they need to sort of level up in playing a more complete game if they're going to compete in the Champions League this season.
Yeah, 4-0 win over Hoffenheim last night. They're top of the WSL. Obviously, new signings there, the new manager. What are you putting it down to, Flo, in terms of what this, I don't want to say a full about turn in terms of their fortunes, because it's very early in the season to be making those kind of predictions, but what are you putting the upturn in form down to?
I think it's a bit of both you mentioned, really. I think the new manager has created quite a sort of aggressive attacking style. I think they take a lot more risks than they used to. They're also not adverse to playing a bit more direct. Joe Montemurro was very core in playing a possession style, maybe classically Arsenal style of football. And Eidevall still has that to some extent, but he's not afraid to play a long ball if it means going more direct and having a better opportunity to score a goal. He also wants a very intense pressing style, so he wants a lot from his players physically. And it's been interesting to see how a lot of players have managed that. It means that he needs to use his bench really well, and that's why the recruitment that they've made is even more important, because they've got a lot of depth now to bring on in the second half of games when players are looking a little bit leggy and tired. He can look to them, and it means that they're just relentless, really. So a lot of teams they've come up against have struggled to contain and compete with that.
Yeah, and they've already beaten some of the better sides, obviously. Karen Carney was talking during the week about the intensity about Arsenal this season, and the intensity in the press specifically. Is that as significant? Is there because that's something you could firmly place at the door of the manager, is there an attitude shift?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a aggressiveness, like I mentioned, to it. The press is relentless, and I think before they haven't really played in that style where you're required to work very hard, and you need to be very physical as well. And I think they've mastered that this season. They had a full preseason with him as well, which makes a massive difference. Even the players that play the Olympic Games, they came back fairly early compared to some of the other teams like Chelsea, who didn't get a lot of their Olympic players back till quite a week or so before the season started, whereas Arsenal had a core group together, bar maybe sort of Tobin Heath, who obviously came in just a couple of weeks ago. They had quite a core group together for quite a long time, so I think that really helped to get a proper pre-season under their belt, to physically get there, but also for the manager to really kind of plant his style of play on the side.
There's obviously been a huge focus on Katie McCabe over here, internationals coming up over the next week as well. Are you surprised by the level that McCabe has actually hit this season? Because I think we all knew that she was amazing, but the level of consistency, staying in the team and scoring obviously 3 goals in as many games over the last couple of weeks, is that a level above what you expected from her this season?
I mean, not to seem like I've got some kind of crystal ball, but she was Arsenal's player of the season last season, and she was unbelievable. And she was very clear, despite her brilliant numbers last season, that she wanted more. She wanted to perform even better. And so I think you could tell there was a hunger there to sort of level up things. And the versatility is ridiculous. She's played at left wing back this season, but she's also played higher up the pitch as a part of a front three. So I think she's just so dangerous. And I think she's going to have another big season.
Yeah, that versatility is really interesting, because obviously she scored a couple of screamers, and then one of the goals she scored was like a breakaway counter-attack goal as well. What's her best position, I guess, is the obvious question there, but I guess it's not something that Arsenal are overly concerned with at the moment. No matter where they play her, she seems to be producing the goods.
Yeah, I imagine she probably won't play as part of the front three that much this season, just because of the players that Jonas Eidevall has at his disposal, and also he's trying to balance keeping everyone happy in that respect as well. He's obviously recruited a lot of attacking players: Tobin Heath, Akiyat Paris, Iwabuchi. He's already got Beth Mead and Viviane Miedema to sort of factor into that as well. So I think we won't see her play as part of that front three in the league necessarily as much, but perhaps maybe against the smaller teams she'll get an opportunity there. But I do think in that more like comfortable left wing back role is perhaps where we're going to see her the most. And she loves that role as well, and she's brilliant from a set piece, corners and free kicks. So I think she's flourishing really.
The Sky Team of the Week, she was featured in the Sky Team of the Season so far, I should say, that was named during the week. And another name that popped up that caught our interest was Louise Quinn. And I mean, it's all the more, maybe surprising might be the word I'd use, given where, the position of her team at the minute. But Louise is obviously back in England, 31, has had her time in Italy and is back and is playing well enough to be included in a conversation like that. At that age, Flo, what's your sense of, she's obviously getting back and getting re-established, and it's very early in the season and all those caveats, but in terms of Louise's ability to maybe even get back at one of the bigger clubs?
Yeah, potentially. I think her joining Birmingham is huge for that club. She's going to be a real talisman for them this season, and any chance they have of staying up, which I think is a pretty small chance given the situation there at the moment and the investment that other clubs have put in this summer. I do think it's a small chance, but if they have any chance of survival, it's probably going to be down to Louise Quinn. She scored at the weekend when they got their first point of the season against West Ham. She's already been a huge part of the good performances that they've had this season. Yes, they only picked up their first point of the season at the weekend, but they did play quite well the previous week against Manchester United, and Louise Quinn was a massive part of that. She put her body on the line. She finished the game with a kind of big bandage on her head, doing a kind of full Terry Butcher situation. And she's that kind of player, she's that kind of player. And I think that's exactly what a club in Birmingham positions need: that experience, that work rate, that desire and that leadership. And I think it'd be brilliant to see that if she continues this and has a really good season, she may be able to find a spot at a bigger WSL club.
You mentioned there a moment ago in the context of Arsenal Miedema, and Sky Sports a couple of weeks ago got a bit of traction for their Messi versus Ronaldo debate on Monday Night Football. You'd wonder if they're going to get a similar thing for putting Sam Kerr and Miedema up against one another this week, since Kerr's beginning in the WSL. How much of a debate is this at the moment, and how much are these two held up as the two best attackers in the league right now?
I haven't actually seen that much of the debate, but I think probably maybe because they're so different in what they do. I think there's always the debate about sort of Miedema being the greatest of all time, and then what other women's footballers are kind of at that level. But I think the conversation around Sam Kerr is always followed by a conversation around Fran Kirby as well, and that sort of partnership as they come as a bit of a package. So I suppose you could say, what are the best partnerships, who can compete with that Kerr and Kirby combo? And I don't really think anyone can at the moment. We haven't really seen the best of Viviane Miedema under Jonas Eidevall yet. She has been very versatile in terms of she's not afraid to drop deep and play in her teammates. But I also think she's sort of finding her feet a little bit in his system, because he wants his players to move around the pitch so much and slot into different areas and constantly be sort of aware of their teammates and provide that versatility. I'm not really sure that's quite her game. So it's sort of interesting how she fits into that. But even with her, perhaps not having the best season of her career, she's probably still going to cruise to at least 15 goals, perhaps probably 20 plus goals this season. So she's just that sort of player.
Manchester United, Flo, we've had plenty of contributors been on over the last couple of years that have been fairly critical of United and their general approach and backing of the team, and a bit of a sort of an odd pre-season almost as well. But for all of that, they're flying it away in the league. Is this an outlier, or is there enough? Are you seeing enough evidence in what United are doing to suggest that they can make a bit of a run of it this year?
I don't necessarily think that they could make a run of it. They might be able to secure a Champions League spot. They might be able to secure that third Champions League place if Manchester City can't work their way back up to compete in the top three. I think it's impressive how they've managed to limit the damage from, like you said, a tumultuous summer, lots of players leaving, head coach leaving, new head coach. I think it's good to see how a lot of their new recruitments and the players that were already there have sort of bedded in together and understood the new manager's philosophy. So I think that is impressive. But I think what has shown so far already this season is the gap that still exists, because they got absolutely battered by Chelsea, made a lot of mistakes, and up until then, you know, they seemingly looked like they had quite a solid defence and had recruited well, but that kind of came undone and was unravelled all in the space of sort of half an hour. So I think although they've put on some really good performances and they look impressive, and I think they could have a good cup run and perhaps challenge for that third Champions League spot, I do think in terms of title credentials, that gap is just too big to try and broach at the moment.